Thank goodness we've got Sal Pal to help us out with all of it. He's at Browns-Eagles practice today, live from there. And Sal, some big news coming out of that Browns quarterback room. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, here's the latest breaking news. Let's get right to it. Shedeur Sanders, according to the Cleveland Browns statement, has a oblique strain. He suffered that in warm-ups this morning here at the joint practices with the Philadelphia Eagles. The exact statement says, quote, update from the Browns. Further medical testing and examination of Shedeur Sanders revealed an oblique strain. He is considered day-to-day. Won't practice Thursday in the joint practices with the Philadelphia Eagles, and is unlikely to play in the game Saturday across the street in Lincoln Financial Field. Now, here's the timeline, Laura. This morning, out on the practice field at NovaCare, we watched Shedeur Sanders warm up. He had every intention of going out there and joining the quarterbacks of the Cleveland Browns to practice, joint practice with the Philadelphia Eagles. Then he went over to Kevin Stefanski, the head coach, who told me after practice that Sanders complained of soreness or tightness in his oblique, and Stefanski pulled him out. He wanted him to practice against the Eagles. So after practice, I got a chance to talk to 40-year-old Joe Flacco, who's right now number one on the depth chart, about how Shedeur Sanders is handling the ups and downs of being injured, not being able to practice, starring in a role against the Panthers in his first preseason game. How is he handling the spotlight? Here is Joe Flacco's answer. Listen to this.
Shedeur does a great job with that. I mean, I think I think he's been around it a good amount, so he knows how to handle it and stay even and not really let it affect him. So,
what does this Browns team got to do offensively to be better than they were last year, Joe?
I think we just got to be physical and use that physicality to our advantage. I think anytime you want to be good on offense in this league, it starts with that. It starts with the guys up front and giving them the ability to play fast and play physical.
Joe Flacco, as we know, grew up about 8 miles over the Walt Whitman Bridge in Audubon, New Jersey. His wife and children were here today. He's 40. He's got a Super Bowl MVP. Doesn't need the practice, but he was out there today. Definitely doesn't need the preseason. He won't be playing in the preseason game for the Browns. So we will see, obviously, a lot of Dillon Gabriel, who was out there today, the rookie from Oregon, and we will definitely see Kenny Pickett once he gets healthy. But no Shedeur Sanders, oblique strain, not good for the rookie out of Colorado.
All right, thanks so much, Sal Pal. The latest there, a lot to unpack. So we welcome you into the show. We got Meg Tannenbaum here, as well as Nina Kimes and Peter Schrager joining us too. Mike T, how do you think this injury affects Shedeur Sanders? The Browns are trying to manage this quarterback room, get people reps, and now he's hurt.
Yeah, Laura, there's a lot to unpack here. So first of all, it doesn't seem serious, which is great. So we could take IR off the table, which would end his season. It's too bad because Shedeur played very well against the Panthers. They still have one more preseason game against the Rams to evaluate. But now, Dillon Gabriel, will he play? He was the third-round pick. He'll hopefully get an opportunity. But it just seems like this is all trending towards, hey, we have Joe Flacco, the ultimate bridge quarterback at 40 years old. But it's really too bad because I thought Shedeur was very encouraging in the first game. But one of the things about being a pro quarterback, guys, is you have to be durable. And hopefully this is just a small bump in the road. But any chance he may have had to start, which was probably a long shot, is obviously greatly diminished by not playing.
Yeah, I think it matters in two ways. One, the competition aspect, which I see more about QB2 backing up Joe Flacco. He could potentially lose some ground to Dillon Gabriel just by not being available in this game. And then the other is development. These reps matter a lot for these young quarterbacks. I thought Shedeur was really impressive in his first start. I was impressed by his come to the league. NFL speed is different from college speed. He can't go backwards the way he did a couple times in this game. He knows that. His coaches tell him that. But he has to play to learn that and to stop, sort of get those habits out of his system. So the more he plays, the better. It's going to make him a better quarterback.
Yeah, look, I've been called a hater for saying that I don't think he's got a shot of winning this quarterback one, and it's nothing to do with me. It was that he was fourth on the depth chart, and I thought Friday night was sublime. I thought he was fantastic. And then I wake up in the morning and I'm texting with some sources around the team. They're like, no, he showed signs of progress, and then we get the depth chart, and he was fourth anyway. It seriously impacts any long shot chance he had of being QB1 not being available for these practices. Meanwhile, it's next man up. And Dillon Gabriel was healthy. Dillon Gabriel was thrown, and he's going to get his opportunity in this preseason game, which is a week 2 preseason game against the Eagles, which might not feel significant at all. But to Mina's point, if you've got your 2 veteran quarterbacks, one of them unavailable, one of them likely not going to play, and then you got your 2 rookie quarterbacks, this is a real opportunity for, in the same field, against the same defense, against the same stacked odds, Shedeur to outshine Dillon Gabriel. Well, over the 2-day period, it looks like Dillon Gabriel is going to get that opportunity and not Shedeur.
Yeah, it's interesting because you wondered what maybe Kenny Pickett or Dillon Gabriel thought as they watched Shedeur play really well. To Peter's point, now we get to see what Dillon Gabriel brings to the table. We'll see when Pickett gets healthy. All right, let's leave that there. We'll keep an eye on Shedeur if there's anything else that comes out. But let's go to Buffalo, where James Cook and the Bills have reached an agreement on a 4-year, $48 million contract extension that includes $30 million guaranteed. That's the most guaranteed money for a running back in the last 5 years. Cook spoke to the media today.
Just trying to stay healthy and just get everything done before I can go out there and play with a clear mindset and showing them that I'm willing to not be a problem and a distraction. Just go out there, just practice and, and play and see what happens. That was my mindset.
I think the core of this team, knew what this was about and that everyone was level-headed. And yes, James was not on the practice field, but he was at walkthroughs, he was in meetings. He wasn't just there physically, like he was engaged.
Well, James Cook looked like an elite running back last season. He finished with 16 rushing touchdowns, which was tied for the most in the NFL and tied O.J. Simpson's 1975 season for the most in Bills history. He scored a touchdown on 7.7% of his carries, the 3rd highest rate by a running back over the last 20 seasons. And he had 4 rushing touchdowns of 40-plus yards, which is tied for the most in a season since 2010. It's been cool, even doing Bills games over the last couple of seasons, seeing how Josh Allen has gotten to trust James Cook a little bit more, too. Mina, does having a back like James Cook change how defenses play the Bills?
Absolutely. I think when defenses face Buffalo, they're first worried about Josh Allen. That's in every way, right, as both the passer and a rusher. And then the second thing they worry about is the Bills' rushing attack, more so than any of the pass catchers. This was an excellent run game, as illustrated by those stats. The Bills faced the 4th highest amount of single high coverage in the NFL last year. Teams who were routinely dropping in a safety into the box to try to stop the run. Now that James Cook is locked up, and he's part of a committee there, but he is, in my mind, certainly the best back that they have. Okay, do they have pass catchers who can take advantage of those one-on-ones? The Khalil Shakir injury looms large in that regard. But James Cook being locked up, I think, signing him to this contract ahead of the season, getting that drama out of the way, huge for Buffalo, huge for this dominant Bills rushing attack.
And it's big because it completes an offseason in which their goal is to take care of their own guys, homegrown talent. And when you look at Greg Rousseau and Khalil Shakir and Benford and Bernard and, of course, Josh Allen, they all signed extensions. We were waiting on Cook. To get this done now is huge. You have your completed set. You've got the Infinity Stones, and this is where it's